Привет.
Привет.
Доброе утро.
Доброе утро.
Oh, that's a new one for you. That's good morning. Happy day. Buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
So today we will finish up with our Russian regions. Okay, let's go ahead and start. We've already covered the core, so let's go ahead and start with our next one. What's our next region that we want to cover? And these are sub-regions of Russia. Yes, let's go ahead and do the southeastern frontier. So again, the Russian core is west of the Urals, and that's the place where most Russians do live. And the southeastern frontier would go along the southern border until we get to the far east. So, and it's below Siberia. So here, roughly here. All right, so we always like to pick out the major characteristics of this region. So what is the main thing? And I'll give you a hint, it has to do with population pattern. Yes, it's a settlement pattern, as the subregion name indicates. Southeastern frontier would be people settling from west to east. And actually, it's also a settlement pattern that's along the southern border. And why would that be? Yeah, it's just a bit warmer. We have that continentality where we've got these frigid Arctic airs blowing from the Arctic Circle. And so it's the farther south you go, the warmer it would be. And so that is our settlement pattern. Now we do have two industrial regions, and remember industrial regions are distinct from the subregions in that the industrial regions are located inside some of the subregions. Now we did have three in the core, so what two industrial regions do we have in this subregion of southeastern frontier?
The Kuzbas region, the Baikal.
Yeah, Kuzbas or Kuznetsk and Baikalia or Baikal. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the first one. The first one, Kuzbas or Kuznetsk. One of you brought up a very important thing about complementarity. What was that?
The Kuzbas, they transfer coal to the west to the Urals, and in return, the Urals give them iron ore in return. So it's like basically a trade.
Right, a trade, a swapping. And again, these and here, this is roughly the location. It's sort of triangular with Novosibirsk and Tomsk in this area, sort of in a triangle. And it's, again, Novosibirsk is the biggest city in this region, and it's located on the Old River. And so what he's talking about is that there was a transfer of coal and ores back and forth, and so this was a very important, and is a very important industrial region. Yeah, and also we talked about Novosibirsk as being central for, it's almost like a think tank kind of a place. Like in the United States, we have Research Triangle located in North Carolina. We also have a lot of internet activity that goes on in California, especially Northern California around San Francisco. And this is a big think tank area, Novosibirsk, sort of like almost an Area 51 in some cases too, where there's just a lot of intelligence there. And during the Cold War times, there would be, of course, the intelligence of the US that was kind of in contention and tense with the intelligence of the Soviets. And so a lot of that is, it's just really great universities and a lot of think tanks and a lot of intelligence there. How about the other the other industrial region? Baikal. Baikal or Baikalia, that is the deepest, I believe it's the deepest rift lake in the world, and you can see it from space. So check it out, that's a huge lake. Note that it's narrow and long, so it runs roughly north to south, a bit canted, and it's super deep. So this industrial region does have to do with water activities. So what are some of the activities that are here? Lots of projects, young people go there for good paying jobs. Hydroelectric dam. So there's water, there's irrigation, there's farming, there's timber, there's nuclear facilities, hydropower facilities, lots of different things, lots of different jobs, lots of different activities going on there. So yeah, this is a really, I would love, as I was saying earlier, I would love to just get on the railroad and get on a car and travel all the way from Moscow to Vladivostok, because the Trans-Siberian Railroad runs through, and also the other one. The other railroad is the BAM, or the Baikal-Amur Main Line. Yeah. So that would be fun. I would enjoy that a lot. Now remember, this is quite rural, so this would be interesting. There would be not a lot of infrastructure as you go by. This would be real Russian ethnic territory. So traveling along, you would eventually get to Vladivostok. Okay, what's our next subregion?
Siberia.
Okay, Siberia. What's the nickname for Siberia? Russia's freezer. So look at all those time zones. It's got the least amount of people, and again, it's actually losing people, which are people that migrate to the core for jobs, for opportunities. It's very rural, very cold, but it's full of resources. So again, this is the economy of Russia. We've got oil, gas, minerals of all kinds, diamonds, gold, silver, precious gems, all kinds of different minerals and resources. And it's frozen, so it's very difficult. We were kind of laughing about the ice road truckers, that it's very dangerous to travel on trucks, but that's would be the way to get things out, in or out, or maybe light planes. It's very difficult to travel and to truck things back and forth. It's just so very cold. And also, it's frozen, but permafrost is very, very difficult to lay roads on because it has a tendency to dissolve, and especially with any kind of warming trend going on, big holes can form, and you can actually fall right through them. They can actually catch fire too, because often there's a lot of organic material inside of them, and so once the freezing, starts to thaw and melt, methane gets released, and potholes form, so can swallow up huge trucks, or can swallow up anything that goes over it. So yeah, so this is Siberia, and next we have
Far East.
the Far East. And many Russians think of the Far East as the place where they can go on vacation, because you see that is where it is the Pacific, and the very warmest and nicest, this would be Vladivostok, where it reaches further, a little bit further south, very close to Japan. And Vladivostok also, during Soviet times, what was that? It was a big
Port.
Yeah, port and Navy base. Yeah, it was a Navy base, and there were lots of stores, lots of military families. People were actually paid to go and live there and to work there. And yet, when the Soviet Union collapsed, it was decommissioned. And so now, a lot of the support, a lot of the money, the funding, the finance, the excitement, the stores, everything there kind of left. And so there hasn't been much action there. Yet, if you look at its location, and we were also, here's Guam. Now, Guam isn't on this map actually. I should draw it in somewhere. Probably right around there. But as you can see, we're only about a 3-hour flight to Japan, 3.5 hours, less to the Philippines. And if we were to fly to Korea, it's probably about the same as to Japan. And look at Vladivostok. That would probably be 3 3/4 hours, 4-hour flight. And that is not too bad. So in the future, trade partners could include China, Korea, and the United States, which is also not very far away. And so really if trade opened to the Pac Rim, to all the countries on the Pac Rim, then even Australia, South America, then really this is poised for some really good trade in the future. Let's not forget one other sub-region. Transcaucasia. Okay, let's not forget that. South of the Caucasus Mountains here, we have 3 countries. And what are these 3 countries?
Georgia,
Azerbaijan.
Yes, Georgia, Azerbaijan, and Armenia. So I did ask for your homework, your reading, to check out a few things about it. You're all looking at me like, what? And I can see you looking at me like, what? Also, that's okay. I'll just ask now. Of these groups, one of them is Christian and fled from a location in the Middle East that was close to Iran for actually protection from Russia, because Russia is Christian Eastern Orthodox mostly. Armenia, good. Let's see, there's another one that has had some tension with Russian troops going into the country because of Ossetia. There is North Ossetia, which extends across into the Russian border, and South Ossetia, which is in this country. And even though Stalin is from here, there's been some tensions with Russian troops going across the border recently. Georgia, good. And this kind of leaves, since there's only 3, it's not too hard. But I'll ask anyway. Which one of these has a port called Baki, or Baku, and has a lot of oil that used to be mainly traded with Russia, and now they're open to trading with other countries in Europe, and other places? Azerbaijan, good. Not too difficult because it was the last one. Okay, so those are our sub-regions. So that'll be it for today, and that finishes our Russian realm. Thank you.